Hello, dear friends. Cobra's reports seem surreal, but I believe they reveal hidden truths. Opinion piece: Implant Cleaning. Defeat of the Chimera group. China prepares for solar flare. Light already sweeping through the cracks. They are trying to provoke a world war. Massive spiritual awakening expected. It is maybe just around the corner. The source of evil is called the Lurker. They promote a world order under Chinese control. China could be democratized as early as October. China and Russia believe a unipolar world is impossible. They consider Westerners too independent. Africa prepares a pan-African gold currency called Nilar. The world could experience a Soviet-style collapse. Let's start. Update of the Chimera situation by Cobra via the 2012 portal of the Intelligence Center for the Victory of Light. The forces of light have made significant progress in clearing the Chimera group. They have cleared all underground wells with Chimera presence, except for the main well under the Urim military base in Israel, according to Cobra. 12 members of the main Chimera military command, the last remaining members of the Orion sub-faction of the Chimera living in that pit, would be controlling the population's network of biochips and implants through a physical and etheric quantum supercomputer. The only wells that would be left now would be about 300 pits belonging to the Illuminoids. The forces of light have begun the operation of cleansing the population of biochips and implants from the surface with full force, applying the advanced technology of the Molnir quantum cannon. This operation would take some time, but would have a very beneficial effect in deprogramming the population, and once completed, a massive spiritual awakening is expected. Molnir technology is also used to clear micro black holes from the auric fields in the etheric, astral, mental, and causal bodies of humankind. These micro black holes were imposed in the human auric fields with exotic dark technologies during traumatic dissociation events and are of the main elements of the dark matrix in the last 25,000 years. These micro black holes, along with the larger black holes in the implants, distort the non-physical space-time around humankind in alignment with the Kerr metric. The Kerr metric describes the geometry of empty space-time around a black hole, axially symmetric and without rotating charge, with a nearly spherical event horizon. The Kerr metric would be a solution to Einstein's field equations of general relativity. These equations are highly non-linear, making the exact solution very difficult to find. The Lurker. The Lurker is starving by simply depleting the reservoir of a manifested subquantum anomaly, which is being done again with advanced Molnir technology that causes the unmanifested subquantum anomaly to manifest as quantum fluctuations, which are then easily removed. Lurker is the name given to participants in virtual communities who adopt a parasitic, receptive attitude only, without actively contributing by sharing files, posting on discussions forums, etc. A reader has given a fairly accurate description of the Lurker. This entity would be the core, the very essence of the random fluctuations we call the duality anomaly. It has existed as long as the anomaly has existed. It is the true source of the power of the dark forces. The anomaly manifests in our reality when you combine the conscious energy of life harvested from their batteries with the random fluctuations of this entity. Suppressing the influence of the anomaly core on the physical, plasma, etheric, astral, and mental planes would drastically reduce the amount of new anomaly generated through the suffering and trauma of the souls within this quarantine. This could also drastically influence the effectiveness of the modern quantum cannon technology in clearing the anomaly across the planet's surface. This subquantum entity is often the model for the depiction of the main evil in various fictional accounts, but it is not quite accurate to call it the main evil. It is the potentiality that manifested the main evil in this cosmic cycle. Unfortunately, some of these pits or dungeons still contain Pleiadian hostages in captivity. They are still setting very powerful members of the Chimera in human clone bodies, belonging to the Andromeda sub-faction, who would be infiltrating the planet's surface system. The bad guy's plan. The plan of the leading members of the clique would now be to destroy civilization with a world war and the destruction of supply chains, and then move to underground shafts to weather the collapse and the subsequent solar flare. After the patch, they plan to repopulate the surface. Needless to say, their plan has several major flaws and will not succeed. They are trying to engineer a new world war using the energies of the division of the Roman Empire that occurred in 395 after the death of Theodosius, a chief archon of Roman Emperor who destroyed mysteries of the goddess and imposed Christianity as the main and only acceptable. The leading families of the black nobility now want to crush the prosperous western axis of the USA, the EU, and Australia, which originates from the western part of the Roman Empire and which was under the direct leadership of Rothschild. People in the West have become too independent and too happy for their liking. Now, they are promoting a new world order under Chinese control, and Russia, as the main Chinese loser, culturally aligned with the instapower of the old Roman Empire, with China's influence quietly spreading everywhere. China and Russia agreed that a unipolar world is impossible. They match that it is an impossible situation when the so-called Golden Billion claim the right to invent rules in economic, politics, and law, and to impose their will on other countries, he said. In the Russian-speaking world, the term Golden Billion refers to the wealthy populations of the US, the EU, and other Western nations. It has been a while since the foundations of the unipolar systems were laid. In quotes, "They are creating and shaking because a new reality is emerging," said the Kremlin spokesman. The obsolete unipolar model is supposedly being replaced by a new world order based on the fundamental principles of justice, equality, and recognition of the right of each nation and the state to its sovereign path of development. Solar flare. Meanwhile, China is preparing for the solar flare, with recent scientific studies confirming solar superflares occurring every few thousand years, which is due now. Visitors from the stars may be just around the corner. And although our current civilization is false and stupid, there is already light shining through the cracks of the matrix. You can help that light by purifying the surface of the planet with the violet flame meditation. Victory of the light. Definition. According to classical mythology, the Chimera is a monstrous being of dark origin, a hybrid between a lion, a goat, and a reptile. The latter is usually a dragon, although it can also be represented by a snake. The front is that of a large tan-colored lion. The back is that of a huge black-bellied goat. It also has gigantic dragon wings, which are usually black or red. It has 3 heads: a dragon head, a lion head, and a goat head. The Chimera can communicate in the magical language of dragons, although it will not speak to creatures it considers inferior. It normally feeds on the flesh of the animals it hunts, but in times of scarcity it survives on its goat's head, which can be fed on grasses in the meadows. It likes to hoard treasures, possibly because of its dragon path, for no other purpose than to make mountains out of them. It uses the coins of the humans, elves, and other humanoids it attacks, and kills to form its golden and silver mountains. In classical mythology, the Chimera was a flame-sweeping monster, with the head of a lion, the belly of a goat, and the tail of a dragon. The Chimera roamed the regions of Asia Minor, terrorizing the population and gobbling up animals and even entire heads. According to the Romans, the Chimera was depicted with only 2 heads, the head of a lion and the head of a goat, which protruded from its back. It was said to spit fire. Chimera was finally defeated by Bellerophon with the help of Pegasus, the winged horse at the command of King Iobates of Elysia. There are various descriptions of her death. Some say simply that Bellerophon pierced her with his spear, while others maintain that he killed her by covering the tip of the spear with a lead that melted when exposed to Chimera's fiery breath. Pegasus succeeded in tiring and despairing the dreaded Chimera, thanks to his greater speed in flight, which enabled Bellerophon to deliver a mortal blow with the tip of his spear. Reset News. The American corporation was under the British crown, but the Queen has left. The mystery of the Queen's secret letter. In just 63 hours, a letter ordered not to be opened for the next 63 years was opened. This information has just emerged about a secret letter from the Queen which she personally addressed to the citizens of Sydney, and which she dared not to publish. A member of the Queen's staff entered the secret room where the letter was kept. The contents of the letter are not known. White Hat operations have quietly taken over the chain of command of the Vatican Empire. Quiet control of the Vatican has resulted in the arrest of the Knights of Malta, who control the United Nations and try to install an African Pope. Inflation explodes in the US as Europe faces a dark winter of civil unrest and deindustrialization. The Al Omar oil field in Syria explodes, cutting off oil supplies to the US. A 9/11-like event approaches as Denver and Germany plan for chaos. 2 buses sent by Texas drop off migrants in front of Vice President Kamala Harris' residence. Zoom crashes for thousands of users worldwide. NASA insider confesses on his deathbed, in quotes, "I helped film a fake moon landing in 1969. The CCP will meet in October to make amendments to the Chinese constitution, which could probably lead to a democratic state. The world could experience something akin to the collapse of the Soviet Union. Russian citizens have doubled their incomes and some tripled despite sanctions. Our time will come according to Coach Jerry. If we could figure out the exact moment, then the evil opposition could figure it out too. And I have a sneaking suspicion that the coalition has designed this whole movie in such a way that no one will be able to figure it out." Pan-African gold currency. According to Mark Sida, the Nilar is a Pan-African gold-backed currency that will be available to the entire African continent. They are pooling their resources for stable money. They no longer want or need the West. Africa contains many natural resources. When they lead the fire system and become gold-backed, it will be another straw that will break the camel's back of the system. Magic of numbers. According to John O'Savin, there are natural numbers that occur and are not manipulated. They seem divinely inspired. But there is also a manipulated number system where merely magicians seek to manage times, dates, and seasons. Those are manipulated for a purpose, because the people of this cult who try to run the world believe that they get power from their gods by matching dates, times, celestial alignments, and that their gods honor what they do, and more than honoring, there is an actual physical power associated with dates, times, and seasons. And there is some ancient knowledge that has been passed down from generation to generation for eons before Adam, where there was an understanding of the underlying physics. It was embedded in certain rituals, and that was done in numbers with precision, so that later generations could gather that power and align with it. Schumann resonance. According to Juan O'Savin, the Earth has a hum, and its waves travel back and forth through the Earth, and that is the Schumann resonance, a crystalline material vibrating at a frequency of 5.56 Hz. All over the world there are so-called eggs that measure some kind of world consciousness based on frequencies within another exotic physics. This energy can be read and projected outside the body. These detector eggs were planted all over the planet to monitor and map world consciousness. On the day Princess Diana died, several hours before the accident, these eggs around the world began to map some change in energy. By the time the actual event occurred, it increased dramatically. Some kind of global focus of consciousness was held at a higher level. There was some kind of energy being transmitted, a real, measurable, mappable, scientifically observable energy of people, of some kind of emotional energy. Supposed message, in quotes. My name is Princess Diana. I spent 25 years of my life hiding, being afraid, having no one to talk to. I did it for my children and for the people of the world. What I am about to reveal in the coming months will shake your bones. Who died in the car accident? Who ordered me killed? Who saved my life and gave me shelter? This is all bigger than you think. You won't believe your eyes when I publish all the information I have. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.